I'm Rose, and I'm the co-founder of End Stage Matters. I married my soulmate Billy on June the 7th, 2019. 10 days later, he died. How's that for an opening? I thought I'd start with that, rather than tell you the story that gradually leads up to it with all the drama and anticipation. Of course, it is an amazing story. Not such a long time ago. I'm still grieving. In fact, I think I'll never be the same. And he walks with me, always. I live in the world while holding the hand of the dead. But my story didn't start with that. In fact, at the time, I felt that everything in my life had been leading up to that point, leading up to supporting him, guiding him, caring for him, holding him close and letting him go all at the same time, managing my own grief and sadness while holding him as he journeyed towards his death with eyes wide open. I've been a registered nurse for nearly 40 years, and throughout that whole time, I have been drawn to end-of-life and palliative care. I have postgrad qualifications in PAL care. Over the past 5 years or so, Billy and I both recognised that the current structure of support for people at the end of life is poorly funded and limited in its ability to truly meet people's needs. And with the grey tsunami on its way, this situation will only get worse. We shared a passion for getting people talking about death, impermanence, and our inevitable mortality. My years of nursing has shown me a stubborn, persistent refusal in our culture to incorporate death as inevitable. But it's not just inevitable. It is, in fact, a priceless opportunity to embrace the whole of life. I'm passionate about and committed to making a difference to our death-phobic culture. And I hold a vision where we can relax our tight grip on death denial and discover the gifts which lie in the exploration of the absolute certainty of a fate we all share. I've learned so much in the past few years about death and dying. As soon as I spoke out my intention to become a death doula, it seems the universe took me seriously. First, my best friend, and then my dear Billy. It's a continued exploration, but I believe I have the experiences, both personal and professional, to support others who not only find themselves facing an end-of-life diagnosis, but anyone who wants to lift the lid on this topic and ask themselves the great questions. We're not ready. We're not ready for ill health, not ready for our own death, not ready for the death of those we love. Not being ready, not allowing death, leads to prolonged ill health, chronic debility, chronic prolonged poor quality of life, increased fear, inability to manage imminent death with full participation, prolonged dying, increased residential care admissions, overuse of medications, medical procedures and medical treatments beyond any therapeutic value, soaring costs in healthcare and subpar care from a health system that is busting at the seams. Alongside this, we have so many who have no language and no point of reference for death, dying, grief and loss, and who rely on healthcare providers, many who are just as out of their depth in this space for direction. Consequently, those at the end of their lives, along with their carers, families and loved ones, are left to struggle on confused, burdened, heartsore and afraid.
I'm Nicole. I'm the co-founder of End Stage Matters. 3 months before my wedding, at the tender age of 22, my little brother Adam was killed in a car accident on his 18th birthday. As you can imagine, this was devastating for my parents and my family. It broke my father's heart, and he's never been the same since. It inadvertently propelled me into a role of taking care of and navigating my whole extended family through this tremendously sad event. I was one to inform everyone what had happened to Adam. I was there at the hospital to carry messages and mementos for those who just couldn't face coming to see his dead body. The funeral was taken out of our hands, and it became a ceremony which bore little resemblance to my treasured little brother. And the consequences of his death have reverberated through my family to this day. Occurring as it did at such a significant time in my life meant that I was propelled forward without much time to reflect on or process my grief, and it has shaped me and who I have become. I have been more and more drawn to caring for those at the end of their lives, and it has ignited me in a passion to help support others as they walk their own death journey. Several years after Adam's death, I gained a position in supporting volunteers to visit residents in nursing homes, training them how to deal with the various health conditions of the residents and working with them to explore their emotions when the resident died. I've discovered I have a real affinity with this work, and I find it immensely rewarding and fulfilling. Over the past few years, I've deepened my experience and knowledge in this field, training to become a death doula and working as a palliative care volunteer. I've even ran the Beechworth Cemetery for 12 months. It is my wish to support, advocate and empower individuals during their transition towards death by holding sacred space for them with love and compassion and allowing them to find their peace. This brings me great joy and a fulfilling livelihood.